Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Lessons for All podcast.
It's great to have you with us again. I'm George.
And I'm Emma. We're so happy you're here to learn English with us today.
Absolutely, Emma. Today we're going to talk about a topic that is very important for many adults around the world.
That's right. It's about finding a good balance between our work lives and our personal lives. We call this work-life balance.
Work-life balance. It sounds simple, but for many people, it can be quite challenging.
Very challenging. We spend a lot of time working, and it can be difficult to make sure we also have enough time for ourselves, our families, hobbies, and just relaxing.
Yes, work is important, of course. But our personal lives are just as important for our health and happiness.
Exactly. When we don't have a good balance, we can feel stressed, tired, and sometimes even unhappy.
And this topic is relevant for almost everyone, whether you work in an office, from home, or have a different kind of job.
It is. It's about managing your time and energy so you don't feel like work is taking over everything.
So in this episode, we're going to discuss this idea of work-life balance in more detail.
We'll start by looking at why it's so difficult to achieve this balance sometimes. What are the common problems people face?
Right. Things like working too many hours, always being connected to email, and feeling stressed. We'll also introduce some useful English words related to this topic.
Yes, new vocabulary is always helpful for learning English. After that, we'll talk about practical things you can do.
Practical strategies. We'll share tips and ideas that can help you improve your work-life balance.
Like how to manage your time better, how to say no when you need to, and why having hobbies is important.
Simple, actionable steps that you can try in your own life.
And finally, we'll summarize the main points and give you some encouragement to start making small changes.
It's a journey, not a race. Finding your perfect balance takes time and effort.
So we have a great episode planned for you today, talking all about work-life balance.
We hope it will be helpful for your English learning and also for your daily life.
Definitely. Let's dive in. Stay with us.
Okay, Emma, we've talked about what work-life balance is and why it's so important today. Now let's get into why it feels so difficult to achieve for so many people.
That's a great point, George. It sounds simple. Just balance things. But the reality is often very different. One big reason is simply long hours. Many jobs require us to work more than a standard 40 hours a week. And technology means work can follow us home.
Exactly. Your work email is on your phone. Maybe you're expected to answer messages in the evening or on weekends. This pressure to always be available, or always on, makes it hard to truly switch off.
Definitely. And this always-on feeling, combined with long hours, can lead to feeling overwhelmed. Like there's too much to do and not enough time to do it all, for work and for life.
Absolutely. Feeling overwhelmed is a huge source of stress. Constant stress is really damaging to our health, both mentally and physically. If this stress continues for a long time without rest, it can lead to something we call burnout.
Burnout is a really important word here. It's a state of complete emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by excessive and prolonged stress. You feel drained, maybe you lose interest in your work and even your hobbies. It's a serious problem.
It is. And often, burnout happens because we haven't set clear limits. This brings us to another important word, boundary. A boundary is like an invisible line that separates different parts of your life, like work and home.
Yeah, setting boundaries means deciding, for example, I will not check work emails after 7 p.m. or I will not work on the weekend. It's about protecting your personal time. Without boundaries, work can easily take over everything.
And to set those boundaries, you need to know what's important. This is where the word prioritize comes in. To prioritize means to decide which tasks or activities are most important, so you can focus your time and energy on them.
In the context of work-life balance, prioritizing means looking at your work tasks and your personal life, your family, friends, health, hobbies, and deciding what needs your attention most. It's about making conscious choices about how you spend your time.
Right, and part of prioritizing personal time is being able to disconnect. To disconnect means to stop being connected, especially to work or technology. It's the opposite of being always on.
So when you leave work, or maybe after a certain hour at home, you disconnect. You put away your phone, close your laptop, and focus on your personal life, your family, your hobbies, or just resting. It's about giving yourself a break.
So, to summarize the challenges and these key ideas, we often work long hours, feel overwhelmed and stressed, which can lead to burnout. This happens partly because we don't set clear boundaries. We struggle to prioritize non-work parts of our lives, and we find it hard to truly disconnect.
Exactly. Understanding these difficulties, the long hours, the always-on pressure, the risk of burnout, and the need for boundaries, prioritizing and disconnecting is the first important step. It helps us see why balance is missing.
And the good news is, once you understand the challenges, you can start finding ways to overcome them. It takes effort, but it's possible to make positive changes.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what we'll talk about in our next segment. We'll share some practical strategies and tips that can help you start building better balance in your own life. Stay with us. Okay, George, so we've talked about the difficulties and some important words like burnout and boundary. It sounds tough, and it is sometimes.
Absolutely, Emma. It's a real challenge for many people. Feeling overwhelmed or constantly connected to work is very common.
Right. But the good news is, there are things we can do. It's not impossible to find a better balance. It takes effort, maybe some changes, but it's possible. So let's talk about some practical strategies, some actionable tips.
Great idea. Where should we start? I think one of the biggest helpers is time management. Learning how to manage your time effectively can make a huge difference.
Yes, definitely. Time management isn't just about doing things faster. It's about deciding what's truly important and giving it the right amount of time. One simple tip is to prioritize. We mentioned that word earlier. It means deciding which tasks are most important and doing those first.
That's key. And also, scheduling. Many people schedule work meetings or appointments, but they don't schedule time for themselves or their family. Try putting personal time on your calendar, just like a meeting, like family dinner, or workout, or reading time.
Oh, I love that. Treat your personal time as seriously as work time. It makes you less likely to let it disappear. Another difficult but important skill is learning to say no.
Ah, yes. The power of no. It's hard, isn't it? Especially at work. You want to be helpful, a team player, but sometimes saying yes to everything means saying no to your own well-being or your family time.
Exactly. It's okay to say, I can't take on that extra project right now because I'm focused on X, or I need to leave on time today. You don't have to say yes to every request. Saying no is setting a boundary.
Right, and setting boundaries is crucial for balance. This isn't just about saying no. It's about creating clear lines between your work life and your personal life. For example, having a specific time when you stop checking work emails in the evening.
Yes, that's a big one in our connected world. Disconnecting. Setting a rule for yourself, like no work emails after 7 p.m., or I won't work on weekends unless it's an emergency. This helps you switch off your work brain and relax.
And physical boundaries too, if possible. If you work from home, try to have a specific workspace. When you leave that space at the end of the day, it helps signal that work is finished.
That makes sense. It's like leaving work physically, even if you're still in the same building. You're home. And speaking of relaxing and switching off, what about hobbies and relaxation? These are often the first things to go when we're busy.
So true, and it's a mistake. Hobbies, exercise, spending time with loved ones, or just relaxing and doing nothing are not luxuries. They are necessities for our mental and physical health. They help prevent burnout.
Absolutely. They refill your energy. Whether it's reading, gardening, playing music, going for a walk, or meeting friends, make time for things you enjoy outside of work. Put them on your schedule.
So, to recap some practical tips, manage your time by prioritizing and scheduling. Learn to say no. Set clear boundaries for work time and personal time, especially with technology. And importantly, make time for hobbies, relaxation, and personal connections.
Excellent summary, George. It sounds like a lot when you list it all, but remember, you don't have to do everything at once. Maybe pick 1 or 2 strategies to try this week.
That's a great point, Emma. Start small. Perhaps start by scheduling just 30 minutes of me time a few days a week, or decide on a time to stop checking emails in the evening.
Yes, small steps lead to bigger changes over time. It's a process, a journey. And remember, finding balance isn't about being perfect every day. Some days will be busier than others. It's about making conscious choices most of the time.
Right. It's about making an effort to integrate your work and personal life in a way that feels healthy and sustainable for you. Don't compare yourself to others. Find what works for your situation.
Exactly. Be kind to yourself. It takes practice. We hope these practical tips give you some ideas to start implementing changes today.
Hopefully. In our next segment, we'll wrap things up, summarize the main points, and offer some final encouragement.
Sounds good. Stay with us. So, George, we've talked about understanding the challenge of balancing work and life, and we've shared some practical ideas like setting boundaries, prioritizing your time, and learning to disconnect.
That's right, Emma. It's easy to feel overwhelmed, but even small steps can make a big difference. Remember, we talked about burnout and how important it is to avoid it.
Exactly. The key is finding what works for you. Maybe it's scheduling a specific time each evening to put away work emails, or perhaps it's planning a fun activity for the weekend ahead of time.
Yes, don't feel like you have to do everything at once. Choose 1 or 2 strategies that feel achievable for you right now. Maybe try scheduling your me time like you schedule meetings.
That's a great point, George. It's about making your personal time as important as your work time. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination. There will be good days and challenging days.
Absolutely. Be patient with yourself. Learning to balance takes practice and adjusting. If something doesn't work, try something else. The goal is to create a life where you feel fulfilled both at work and at home.
And remember the vocabulary we learned: burnout, boundary, prioritize, and disconnect. These words can help you talk about and understand this topic better.
So our main message today is acknowledge the challenge, try simple strategies, and be kind to yourself on the journey to better balance.
Well said, George. We really hope some of these ideas are helpful for our listeners.
We do. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of English Step by Step.
Yes, thank you. It's always a pleasure sharing these conversations with you.
And join us next time, where we'll be discussing effective ways to learn and remember new English vocabulary. That's a topic I know many of you are interested in.
Oh, that sounds like a very practical episode. We'll share some of our best tips and tricks for expanding your word power.
Definitely. So, for Emma and myself, George, thank you again for joining us. Keep practicing your English, keep trying to find that balance, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.